as a prior salesperson, it was so frustrating to understand where I can go find competitive information. Where do I go to get a new sales deck? Where do I go to get best practices? Where can I go to talk to a mentor, somebody I know within the organization that can help me? These are the things that, as a salesperson, your day is going like this. Yeah. You don't have the time to look for information.
Hello, welcome everybody. My name is Eli, and sitting here in San Francisco from the Saleshood headquarters, and I'm the CEO and co-founder, and so excited to have two dear friends. We've got Jessica Ryker and Chris Lee joining us today. You know, Saleshood as a company, we love bringing leaders together to share kind of their best practices, to share how they're executing world-class sales enablement. And today's session is all about going all in with sales enablement. And we've got a chief revenue officer and a director of enablement, recently promoted, congratulations, here to tell us their story. And so, Latch is a company that has recently come to my attention, and Chris joined Latch, and he's going to talk about Latch. But you joined Latch, and then we started collaborating, and then you went public. And then the day you went public, I'm sitting watching the Apple keynote with my son, and what do I see? Latch is right there, front and center. Apple's promoting Latch as well. But the big question, Chris, is what does Latch do? Tell us all about Latch.
Well, actually, Eli, first and foremost, I just want to say congratulations to building a world-class organization in Saleshood. I am so proud of you, and I just wanted to say that first and foremost. Second piece is, it is an absolute true pleasure to be joining such an iconic Saleshood talk session. I feel like I'm talking to that Lipton guy from the actor studio. I feel like I'm coming into my own right now. This is truly that career checkbox that you have to check off, is to be a part of one of these. And that's why I think it's just so exciting to be here. So thank you so much. Just to get into it a little bit. So interestingly enough, as a CRO, one of the things, my mission has always been to try to build an organization that mirrored a lot of what I learned and grew up with at Salesforce.com, which was around innovating in an area that has never been innovated on before, being a part of an organization that had employees that believed in each other and trusted each other. And then the third piece was around the common goals of really understanding and focusing on the experience of the customer. So that's why I chose Latch. And that kind of moves me into the point of, well, what is Latch? What does Latch do? Latch transforms spaces like multifamily, think student housing, Airbnbs, hotel hospitalities, and they make the places better to live in, to work, to visit. And we do that through an integrated hardware, software services process that we have at Latch. And it helps to, if you will, streamline the end-to-end for the residents of these locations, the property managers, as well as any of the visitors that are participating in using or being a part of one of these locations. And the one piece that I'll say, Eli, is really interesting, because if you think about it, it's very similar to Tesla, right? You've got this beautiful cutting edge product, but it's really the hardware and the software coming together to really enhance the experience. So that's a little bit about where we're driving to with Latch. And then the last piece I'll mention is—
no pun intended on the driving to, right?
No, not at all. And by the way, the other piece of this is that I love the fact that with Latch, we are truly becoming and are that evangelist, which when you become the evangelist in your space, you become the leader. And that's what Salesforce did so well, and DocuSign did so well, and Ariba's of the world. And that's really truly the telltale sign of a company that's coming into its own, and that's Latch.
No, that's amazing. And so it makes sense. You guys are growing, and you brought on amazing enablement leadership. You're investing in your people. So maybe just articulate. I know you've seen enablement from a variety of times in your life. Maybe just kind of start us off with, why is sales enablement so important to Latch's growth?
Yeah, great question. I'll tell you the first thing about sales enablement. I truly believe, and I've always said this, is that enablement is the backbone of inclusiveness right out of the gate. That's the first piece. The second piece is every sales organization needs to have an enablement, a solid enablement program that's going to be able to allow a company to change and adapt, right? Sales is constantly moving, right? To the times, to what they're selling, to what their customer needs are. So that's really a key first point. The second key point is around, you also want to be able to have the ability that when it comes time to make that adjustment, month over month, quarter over quarter, you want to be able to have an enablement program that can go with you to help you pivot quickly and then you don't want to be stuck in the mud while everything else is changing around you. And I think enablement helps drive that sales education and helps them understand that we need to pivot and move depending on what the industry's saying. And then the third and last piece I would say is overall, it's really just the strong foundation for any sales organization, period. So making it so, focusing on solving customer problems, tracking down the content is really not what you want them to do. You want them to actually be helping and thinking about how to solve for the problems, not trying to look for the information. So I think that's also a way that enablement can pull sales together to make them more successful.
And how lucky are you to have a leader like Jessica on your team?
Very fortunate, by the way. I am so very happy to have her.
Right. It's a great partnership. And so Jessica, what would you add? Like, why is sales enablement so important to growth? I know you've seen this before previous companies, but what would you add?
Yeah, sales enablement is important for a lot of reasons, but sales enablement is there to take the burden off of the sales team from having to figure out the best way to do their job, simplify processes, make sure they have the right tools, the tech. All of that is the kind of stuff that they shouldn't have to focus on. They have heavy targets to meet. They've got work to do, customers to talk to. It's my job on the enablement side to smooth that process over, make sure that they can do their jobs effectively and simply, and they don't have to worry about what's happening on the back end. So my job is getting them up to speed, making sure that they're fully capable and enabled in doing their jobs. And that's really the importance of sales enablement to me, is making sure that Chris and his team can meet their goals. I'm going to make sure that everything on the back end is done effectively.
That's amazing. I love it. Smoothing out the process.
Right.
Our sales can do what they need to do.
Right.
Have more conversations with customers, close more deals. Amazing.
Right.
I think it's great. How, you guys are a great team. I love it. Let's talk about kind of the pillars, right? So I think here's the thing. Sales enablement means so many different things to so many different people. And I think we should level set right now, because we're going to talk about what going all in means. And going all in is it means something to you too. But let's talk about the pillars. So Chris, why don't you kick us off? What are some of the core fundamental pillars?
Yeah. So, one of the key ones is just driving the rep performance, Eli. The focus is on, by doing that, is being able to shorten the sales cycle, simplify the workflow, and really truly be able to pull together a world-class sales organization. And I think that's really the one key point that I would say is helping us to drive this. The second is, I want to be able to make sure that there's an alignment within the sales team and what we're looking at as our goals as a sales team and from a revenue side. So that's the second piece, is that enablement will help me drive those components as well. And, just simplifying the process. I mean, listen, we've talked about this before, Eli. The one thing that I think Saleshood does such an amazing job of is helping us to find, or I should say, have a place to put the content. As a prior salesperson, it was so frustrating to understand where I can go find competitive information. Where do I go to get a new sales deck? Where do I go to get best practices? Where can I go to talk to a mentor, somebody I know within the organization that can help me? These are the things that, as a salesperson, your day is going like this. Yeah. You don't have the time to look for information. I always talk about the fact that if a salesperson has to do more than one click, then you're already out of it. They're not going to go try to find it. They're going to pick up the phone and tell somebody else to do it. So you really want to be able to have a place that one click to get to it, which is why I talk about it's so important to use Saleshood, because it's integrated to like a tool like a Salesforce.com. And once you're living in Salesforce, Because at the end of the day, I ask my sales team, go in, you've got a forecast, I want to see activity. I don't want them to drop out, hit another link, go in another product. I want them to see Saleshood in that tab, drill into it, get their information and sell. And that's really the key component to all of this. And I can tell you, outside of that, you just give me that for my sales team, we're off to the races.
Give them what they need, when they need it most, in the right context. And that context
Exactly.
is because you got to make sure that forecast is current and they've got all the tools and content and assets required and information. I love it. Jessica. So listen, we're so grateful and thank you. You know, it's been great to be on this journey. I know we're still early, but we've been moving fast. You know, I think some of the pillars that I know we've been collaborating on with training and onboarding and coaching and I know that guided selling, some of the things you talked about, it's amazing. In correlation, I think you highlighted kind of the metrics and rep productivity. So Jessica, what would you say are some of the pillars from your point of view that are so critical to the business to be successful?
Yeah. So my pillars, my personal ones are kind of just to rephrase what you both said, which is content and training is in the right place at the right time. We need to make sure that, again, that simplicity carries through for the reps at every moment. Another pillar for me is communications are targeted and impactful. There's so much information that comes to a rep on a daily basis, and I need to make sure that they can consume it, understand it, and use it immediately. And so making sure that it's targeted and impactful is another big pillar of enablement for me. The third one is processes being streamlined, rep workflows are simple. And then finally, the sales tech stack works for the reps and not the other way around. To Chris's point, we don't want to see clicks in multiple different tools. We want it all to be as simple as possible, because the more that we take this burden off of the rep's plate and we make their jobs easier to do, the more business they're able to close. And that's really the whole point of what enablement brings to the table. My job is to help Chris meet his goals. And this is the way in which I want to do it. Those are my core pillars.
This is amazing alignment, right? I think you've both touched on alignment, and I think we've got bottom up, top down alignment. But how did we get here? So let's talk.
Eli, I will tell you, but you make really great point. Sorry to interrupt you, but I love to interrupt you.
I love it.
But I will tell you, and I will do this continuously throughout the session. Eventually, I will take this over myself completely, but no, I won't. So what I will tell you is that you have to remember, right? It's not just getting the alignment between the individuals, the CRO, the head of enablement. It's the tools that you use to enable this whole process. You cannot do this on your own. You can't build it. I'm telling you, I've been with companies, we've tried to build it. Right. We've used Saleshood in my last 3 organizations, and it's been the only way in order to pull all the information together and really create the alignment between enablement and sales. We've had a difficult time to do that in the past, and this is the thing that is the glue that brings it all together. So I think it's really key to mention the systems that you use for that success.
It's great. Let's flip it. Let's go a little deeper on that for a moment. So what does it look like when you've got misalignment of systems and processes? What does that look like in organizations? I know you've both seen it, and so let's talk about that for a second. So let's give people some clues what to avoid.
Eli, I will tell you that when you don't have this alignment, one, the sales cycle is extended significantly, because sales folks are trying to find information. They're calling folks up. So if I can't find information, I'm now calling Jessica. Jessica is now doing something else. I've now pulled her out of whatever she's doing. So the efficiency, the productivity that you're taking out of this rest of the organization by trying to do the labor of looking for information, trying to find the information, is so painful, and it extends that sales cycle because everything is disconnected. And again, I go back to, you've got to make it simple for the users or the sales folks, as well as the folks in enablement, in order to help them be successful. And if you don't do it, I'm telling you, it will be the most painful in terms of, especially a company that is in a growth stage and a startup, because you're pointing the fingers as to who's doing what, we're not really sure. And this is a way to bring back the coordination, then the collaboration, and the organization overall.
Agreed. I'll take it to the next level, which is, if you do not have a simplified workflow and alignment of your tools with your team, they are going to use outdated content. The customer experience is going to be affected because they're going to use outdated information. They're going to be presenting something that's not aligned with the rest of our company messaging. It is absolutely important. Not only are our sales cycles longer, not only is it harder for them to actually get to close, but our conversations aren't as good. It's harder for them to be able to do all those little things that make such a huge difference in every single buyer discussion.
Right.
So little things like making sure they have that content in Salesforce when they need it can mean they're asking the right questions in discovery. It means that they're pricing it appropriately. It's all of that.
I will tell you, just to add to what Jess is saying, Eli, I literally just sent her recently, documents to say, hey, we need to be able to look at what's an executive briefing doc look like? What does a term sheet look like? What does a proposal look like? How are we structuring the RFIs and RFPs? All of this is so important. Why? Because if you're not putting it together and putting it in one location and standardizing on the processes, then all the other folks are out there trying to build it on their own. Everyone's got their own proposal. Everyone's building out their own order forms. And that is where you get all this disconnection. And here's what happens. It affects the customer experience. And that's what you want to try to avoid. So that's one of the things that what Jess and I are working on is let's standardize, let's put it in Saleshood, and let's make sure that we educate them on where to go, what to look for, and how to use it.
Wow. I
just dropped the mic there. I think I just dropped the mic. I just dropped the mic. I'm gonna go pick it up. Hang on.
I love it, and you're looking great. I love
this whole thing. Please.
This old thing. So here's the thing. There's so many heads of sales, CEOs, CROs on the planet that aren't where you are. And they haven't connected those dots between rep productivity, enablement. And I love it what you two just did to actual kind of the buyer, customer conversations. What advice would you give a CEO who's trying to learn more about enablement or a little skeptical? What would you say to a CEO or a CRO that might be skeptical?
Well, this is the key thing, right? And I've always been saying this. Whenever I join a company, whenever I build a team, I always focus on trust, right? The thing that you do is when you bring somebody into an organization, you need to trust them. They're there because they do what they do so well. If you don't trust them, then you're always going to be second guessing. You're going to do the work on your own. You're going to have somebody else do it. And again, your efficiencies are going to drop significantly. At the end of the day, Eli, it's all about trust. And listen, I've been with many companies in the past where you talk about trust, and you know what? It's a joke, right? They talk about trust and they go back into their office. You've got to really believe it. You've got to live it, and you've got to really be a part of that. And when I hire someone or I bring them on board, I trust them. When Jess and I talk, or when I talk to my marketing team or I talk to someone else, they know what they're doing. That's why they're there. They should trust me that I'm doing the revenue sales side, and I trust you to do what you're doing. And I think the tripped up point that many CEOs and CROs get into is they don't know when to let go. They think that they know everything and that they can drive that. They have to let go and trust the people that are around them and make sure that they collaborate together and not try to do their job for them. That, my friend, is one of the key points that I think overall in software and technology, we must always drive.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one of the biggest issues that I see on my end is this idea that I don't know are you familiar with the phrase where it's like, I would have written you a shorter letter if I'd had the time.
Yes.
And that to me is constantly applicable. We often at Latch, we very rarely come up with this issue because we're often in really close alignment and collaboration, but it is a consistent issue at a lot of companies. And just keeping that mindset and remembering that those solid foundations and going all in on the right tools, the right people, the right content from the start removes so much burden, not only in the short term, but in the long term. And so making sure that you keep that in mind as a CEO or as a CRO who's not quite sure that enablement is worth it.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, because your reps are struggling. Make it easier and go all in from the start, because you'll have a much easier time in the long run.
I think this is why I love this topic, because companies can dabble with enablement and maybe do one thing. Maybe they'll just do onboarding, or maybe they'll just do, kind of pitch practice, or maybe they'll just kind of build a site and just have content there that people can find. But it misses the boat of getting everybody aligned on the entire process.
Right.
So Eli, to your point, right? This isn't just a, hey, it's CRO and the head of enablement and they have to get aligned. I have an amazing relationship with my head of operations, who runs what I say is the heart of our organization, Noel Ulesic, phenomenal. And I also have another gentleman who everyone's familiar with, Adam Sold, who runs my channel side of my business as well. Why? Because they're all in alignment. They understand the value of what enablement provides to revenue. And if we're all in lockstep, you can't have one part of the chain that's broken. You all have to believe in it. And along that chain, again, I get back in, you all must trust each other. And those are the key things that I would say are the focus and takeaways from what I've learned growing up in this space.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I do want to recognize Noel is incredible. It's been great to collaborate with you as well. And Adam, been with us many, many, many years. You have a great team. You really have assembled, and I think alignment there is amazing. And then that just goes top down, bottom up across your entire organization. Kudos.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Really, really, really kudos. And I think the question I have is, so hyper growth, IPO, how did you decide where to start? Which processes to automate first? What did you roll out first? Like maybe Jess or Chris, who wants to take that one?
Yeah, I can start with that one. So because we were in a position where we really didn't have, we were doing sales onboarding and we were trying really hard to make it work, but to the point before about really making sure that you build it right the first time, that was something that was our primary focus. So sales onboarding was the place we started. And because again, we're growing, it's so necessary that we can not only scale in the near term, but also in the long term. And so myself, my team worked with Justin and Tate on the Saleshood team, and we built out, and we built out the onboarding program. And it's been actually really incredible to see how much we've been able to do in such a short time. So that was our big first focus was, let's get a sales onboarding program that can make sure that every single new person that joins our company is able to be self-sufficient sooner. To Chris's point, shorten those sales cycles, shorten the time to the first self-developed sale to close. We want to be able to see those things from the start. And then the next priority that we had, of course, was putting everyone through selling through curiosity. And that was our next big priority right after we tackled onboarding.
So onboarding, which is foundational to your organization, because you are in this hyper growth and you just did the IPO. And so you got to build that foundation, get everybody on message, get everybody aligned, which is critical. You built this amazing onboarding foundation, and then you leaned into methodology and skills training a little bit. Tell us more about that.
Really, the most important thing about the methodology training was to go back to that idea of get your foundations and your fundamentals right from the start. Selling through curiosity, or what we internally call STC, has been absolutely pivotal in making sure that we all have the same fundamentals. Even our more experienced account executives are getting incredible value from the program. So we took the initiative, and many thanks to Chris for not only advocating for this, but making it happen as soon as he did. Every single one of our reps has gone through this program, and now every single person is using this methodology and using these fundamentals to do even better and lean into what a good seller really looks like. And we will be having every single one of our new hires go through the program as well, and then continuing to reinforce over time, because it absolutely will continue to bring us great rewards in the long term.
Listen, Eli and Jess, that was spot on. I will tell you that, listen, it's about striking a balance, right? Mm-hmm. And when you join an organization, especially where we are in our size, it's about bringing the right folks in. But as I've always said, you can't bring in the right folks and then say, hey, now go out and sell, without having the proper training on what your products do, the proper training on your competition. So who am I out there battling with? What are they saying about me? And oh, by the way, what are the tools that I have to compete? Right? And what's my talk track, and what's my value prop? What's my ROI? If you can't do that, then you're doing an injustice to your sales team. So you have to be able to pull that back in. And then the other piece is, once you have those defined, and I say strike a balance, because even when you bring in sales folks or a sales team, you also have to bring in the right headcount and operations, because you want to make sure that the deals go through. You have a volume of deals, and you want to make sure customer success is there to make sure the customers that are happy and experiencing it. But I will tell you that that other component that just talked about with selling through curiosity is a game changer. We've used selling through curiosity. I've used it at salesforce.com years ago, DocuSign, Financial Force and reputation.com, and then now at Latch. And the key is that when you use a selling through curiosity, it's not about building battle cards. It's not about putting it into another system. And then that's work for a salesperson. I go back to, sales folks don't want to hit 2 clicks. Sales folks don't want to build out battle cards. It's great conceptually for the first month. When you do it, stop it. What you want is a methodology that you can use in your daily life as well, not just in business. I use selling through curiosity when my kids come back from college. I don't say, I say, how was your day? I don't say, how was your day? Fine. But if I say, tell me a little bit about what you experienced today, tell me a little bit about what happened in class today, that gives that conversation more meat, if you will, on the bone. So that's what I use. So selling through curiosity is key there, but it's also something as an organization you standardize on, so everyone understands how to process that. I couple selling through curiosity with my own power methodology: partner, organizational chart, war room, executive sponsor, and revenue or roadmap to mutual close. That is really what we focus on as we talk, right? Getting these intertwined so that we can actually share in how we drive the business. So selling through curiosity and Barry Ryan tied to Saleshood, game changer.
I love it. So listen, for those of you listening and that you aren't as familiar with Saleshood, just let me take a moment. Saleshood is unique in the market. We're purpose-built, all-in-one sales enablement platform, the revenue enablement platform. And the platform brings together the best of learning. So you got training and onboarding. Jess did a great job talking about how they're doing really well-organized, well-structured, and most importantly, scalable, repeatable onboarding with all their people. We bring together coaching. There is a question on reinforcement, right? So folks go through the learning and then they can practice and they can do video role play, and then they're getting feedback from their managers. And then we are doing just-in-time content. Right. So as I'm a seller, I'm getting up to speed when I'm doing my onboarding, and then I'm getting immersed into methodology. I'm doing my skills training. I'm doing my pitch practice. I'm getting coached by my manager, and then just in time, I'm getting content. So for those of you that are less familiar, I wanted to just take a moment to explain that, because I think what's amazing here is you've got 2 leaders that have a very strong vision, are very, very skilled in the ways of enablement, and the 2 of them with a team behind them to drive alignment, to get the right content with a system, they're unstoppable. Latch, home run, unstoppable. And by the way, the last thing I'll say is I love what you just commented on with power. And so this is an important point. You go all in, right? If you're an enablement leader or you're a sales leader, kind of extracting from your experience and integrating your experience, your own methodology with some of the best ones in the industry, like selling through curiosity, bring it together, and then having that be rolled out so you can put your fingerprint on it. It's magical. It's amazing. Power, go curiosity, go Jess, go Chris. What would you guys add? What did I miss there?
Nothing. I mean, listen, the whole idea about, what we're doing, the value of Saleshood, the value of enablement, it's all about driving to that success. And the thing that I focus on is overall, this combination is able to help us generate more deals, bigger deals, and in order to close the deals faster. And that's really what I'm driving at when I start to take a look at how does this affect my success. And then one of the last pieces was, I just saw a question come up, is how do I tie power to this enablement as well? Is power is just a process that I have in place, and I've learned it through my Salesforce days and what have you. But it really is that when you think about your sales methodology and selling through curiosity, it's just, remember, it's not about like the battle cards and what have you. It's just a simple way to think about, do I have a partner in my deals, an organizational chart to connect the dots? Or have I done a war room? Have I done an executive sponsorship? Do I have my executives coming in and meet their executives? And what is that roadmap to closure? Tying that and thinking that way and getting that into your DNA with the selling through curiosity and having that brought together with Saleshood, all of this is just a absolute recipe for success. And listen, you can listen to this, or you don't have to listen to this, but I challenge you to take a look at the companies that have done it, right? Take a look at the Salesforce.coms, take a look at the DocuSigns of the world, take a look at the Zuoras and the Aribas and the folks that are really the foundation of where software and technology is. They've taken all of this and brought it together to be successful. So why wouldn't you want to do that too?
They scale it, they take it seriously, they make it be part of the DNA, the culture, the operating rhythm of the company, like you two are doing. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. There's a question here I want to go a little deeper on, right? So roadmap to success, right? The R in power, right? And there's a question around reinforcement. So let me paint a picture, right? So roadmap to success is a specific tactic that we want our sales professionals on the planet to be better at. You want to build a shared success plan with a prospect. Well, guess what? Selling through curiosity, what selling through curiosity does, it enables you to ask the right questions, practice asking those questions, and then it enables you to share roadmap to success plans in a collaborative way in Saleshood. Amazing. And guess what? And this is where we're going next. I'm so excited that you guys are excited about this as well with buyer enablement and buyerhood. Right now, you can take a roadmap to success, and from Saleshood, you could share it with a prospect. And that way you can drive alignment, collaboration, like it's boom, 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 right?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually just, my dear friend at Saleshood, Michelle, just kind of gave me a preview of Buyerhood. I am so excited to see it and to learn more. So just from my perspective, because we're all in on Saleshood, we have Partnerhood that we're standing up and giving access to our channel, being able to also provide this kind of customer experience to our buyers is something I'm really looking forward to learning more about, because I trust that you will do really well at anything that you put out into the market. And so I'm very excited to see more.
Listen, the Buyerhood is going to be another game changer. And this is just another iteration of success of what we've seen leveraging Saleshood throughout. Listen, the one thing that I'll tell you also, Eli, when I think about, key takeaways, I think about any organization, especially the ones that are our size. The thing that I would say is, one, you must drive to bringing Saleshood into your organization. I think that's step one. Step two is making sure that you're leveraging selling through curiosity. And again, I'm not being paid to promote it. I'm just telling you that I've lived the success of it. And then the third part of this is being able to get the right enablement program and the right enablement leader, which is what we have with Jess at Latch. And I think that combination in itself will take any company to the next level. It will help you hit that guess and make you really drive to the next level. So I think that and what you're continuing to do with Buyerhood and all the other areas that I know you're going down, you never stop innovating, which is what I love. Always taking the next step. Why? Because this is what made you, back to my original point, the evangelist in your space. That's what you are. And that's what Saleshood is. And that's why you've got to look at this as this is the way you've got proven success.
Right.
So grateful. You're too kind. We're really excited about the journey together. And it's been, we're still just beginning, right? We're just scratching the surface. Jessica, from your perspective, right? We're here talking about going all in. You're super fortunate to be at a great company, right time, right place. You got great leaders around you. You got a CRO who clearly believes the ultimate evangelist for you, which that's amazing.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for people around going all in?
Oh, do not half bake anything you do when it comes to enablement. We frequently see in our community this idea that I can get partially there, or I can do it halfway. Don't. Make sure you have the right team, the right technology, the right do it all right from the start, because the importance of investing in those solid foundations cannot be understated. So, we've talked about the reasons why we went all in with Saleshood and selling through curiosity. That's because we are just not going to go halfway. We refuse to do anything less than going all in with enablement. And so that is my tip for success for anyone listening, is never go halfway, get it all the way done and do it the right way the first time. And that's the reason why we have the tech stack that we do and why we have the partnerships that we do, is because we know that by doing this now, we guarantee success and the ability to scale, not only tomorrow, but in 2 years, 5 years. And so that's my final comment for the group.
And listen, you've been so open and transparent about our journey together, and you've shared a ton in this talk. You've shared a ton on metrics, on culture, on trust, on alignment, on the playbook for what to roll out when. And I think a big takeaway listening is many companies today really, going all in means having a mindset, a leadership mindset, having the right team in place, but also having one system. I think it's really hard these days, as Chris said, to have our teams click around to a bunch of different places, right? You need one system for training and onboarding, one system for coaching, one system for guided selling, one system to share content with buyers, and then one system to measure it all. And that all needs to be tightly integrated, so it's one workflow for your managers, for your sellers, and for your publishers and your content creators and your company, so you can drive alignment. And last sentence is, if anybody is interested in seeing a demo, requesting a demo, running a trial with us, listen, we are here evangelizing the power of all-in-one sales enablement, and with partners like Latch, who believe in going all in with a methodology as well. Like, they're a great testimony. So let us know. Very easy for us to set you up with your own system, so you can experience the same benefits that this company is facing. Any final last words?
The only thing I will say, Eli, is that you nailed it, right? I mean, everything that you just summarized there is exactly what we're focused on at Latch. And the way to our success is going to be making sure that we adhere to what we're talking about here, which is making sure we've got the right talent, we've got the right processes in place, and the right solutions. And Saleshood is definitely going to be able to take us there for sure. And the one last piece I'll just say is, overall, everyone needs to understand, the fact of the matter is, it's always about trust. Trust in your people, trust in your customers, trust in your product, and trust in those that you partner with. And I trust you, and I trust Saleshood, and I think all together, we're going to have an unbelievable future together. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to be here. And thank you so much for supporting Latch. And I can't thank you enough for helping us to drive our revenue as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.